The topic which was ultimately narrowed down was as to whether the media is unauthorized, to the effect that what are the regulations, etc. And since both the speakers who will give their insights today, though as such do not require any introduction, Justice Vijender Jain is not only known in India but pan world. His knowledge, his style of functioning as a judge and thereafter has been known to all. And we all know that when he was the Chief Justice, the way the dispensation of justice and the justice was decided, and the number of judges which we all generally talk about, that there is paucity of judges. During his regime, a lot of judges were appointed, and in fact, public at large was gaga. And Mr. Atullah Khanpal, while being a president under his aegis, we had the 50 years golden jubilee, which is remembered the manner in which he conducted. His path-breaking steps as a president are always remembered for his time. And since, fortuitously enough, I know both of them personally, as they say, outside the court and inside the court, they have both a pleasing personality, and it is always a pleasure talking to them. Without taking much time, since the topic is such and the way people are joining us, I would request Mr. Atullah Khanpal to give the overview. Then we will ask Justice Vijender Jain to give his insights. And thereafter, we will also have question and answers, because this is one of the topic where we feel that everyone would like to ask certain questions. If anybody wants to unmute during that time, he can make a request. We can also unmute him and they can ask the question directly. Over to you, Mr. Khanpal.
Thank you, Vikas. And thank you for the kind words. I would begin with saying that whatever we are today and what we are holding seminars and webinars, it is just because of Justice Vijender Jain. And if you had asked me to join, to introduce Justice Vijender Jain, for me, 60 minutes would have been much less. His multidimensional personality has not endeared us, but all continents of the world. In fact, Justice Jain had led a mass movement against female fratricide when he was Chief Justice of Punjab and High Court. His steps taken to provide ETPs and STPs in all the cities of Punjab and Haryana, which were not in existence for 60 years, are bearing fruits today as we are getting STPs and ETPs. And even in the field of environment, he made it a mass movement when he was the Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court. Judge Sahab, we will have a vote. Where are you more popular, in Punjab and Haryana or Delhi? Because we both states have benefited from your brilliance. Now, sir, I will just be coming to the topic, media on trial. Sir, it's a very burning topic and affects everybody. As Socrates said, sir, false words are not evil in themselves, but they infect the soul with evil. The power of media is felt every day, in every walk of life. Everybody is affected by the reports in electronic media, newsprint, radio, television, and everywhere. The news is now at 24 hours. So we are bound to be affected by the news being relayed, printed, and fed to the public 24 hours of the day. Freedom of speech is enshrined in Article 19 of the Constitution of India. And even personally, I would not like there to be curbs on the freedom of speech. All people should have their right to express their views, whatever they may be, independently, fearlessly, and without any favor of or ill will. But today, what we see, is it actually reporting the truth? Is it now we are leading to what we call the media lynching, media circus? have the journalists of electronic and print media forgotten the code of ethics? Whether they have actually gone beyond their call of duty to sensationalize the issues, to provoke the public opinion and a mass hysteria leading to violence on the streets. These are the issues now which people are talking against the media, that there has to be some curbs. There have to be some place where they should draw the line, that we should not go beyond this. As per today, we have only few provisions, few acts which control the media. That is Press Council of India Act. This act, along with News Broadcasting Standards Authority, Cable Television Networks Regulation Act, News Broadcasting Association, Code of Ethics, do not provide any provisions which can actually control the journalism being prevalent today. None of these acts or the ethics provide for enforcing any of their decisions, cannot penalize them, cannot enforce the standards, do not have power to review. The functioning of electronic media, radio, TV, and internet media has to be controlled somewhere. Today, what we are saying is toxic polarization, communal hatred being spread in many channels and newspapers, with the result that the entire population of the country is being fed with negativity, and is spreading some kind of hatred between the communities. India is a very diverse country with a lot of diversity in religion, language, everything. We don't want any disturbance in this communal harmony. None of the citizens of India want that. But with this media, they are trying to play one group or one religion, one against the another religion, and one group is another. They are taking sides. It's open secret. Rather, it's open talk of the people in the corridors, in the streets. The main thing which actually troubles now is the media infects holds the trial without any evidence, holds the person guilty, and is just waiting for sentence to be carried out. Is it fair? Does it infringe upon the rights of the accused? Does actually the fair trial takes place when the trial is by media, and media is covering each and every step of this mission? Can there be any limits on where to stop? Like in England, after the accused has been arrested formally, the report ends, because they have very strict Contempt of Courts Act for compliance of this. Whatever we may say, but this reporting in the press is going to affect the trial of the accused. Another disturbing aspect which I feel today is glamorizing the gangsters. The gangsters today don't need any PRO agency. Newspapers are PRO agencies. Recently, I've been seeing this and this gangster, gang mob, controlling from jail. They are all glamorizing all these people. They don't need any PROship. They get their clientage out of this, because they have already been shown as great gangsters, and they can ask ransom from the innocent people, and they do it with impunity. The other aspect is the police themselves catch hold of the accused, present them before the media, and are actually in some of the cases made to confess their crime. I'm very sorry to say, but then it's where's the opportunity of fair trial? This is actually hurting the people. But still, we can't say that we don't want to have independent media. We have to have independent media, but we have to have restraints also on them. These are the questions which are troubling us. And actually, media is on trial today. Whether actually we have gone to a stage where we don't want to have any media or don't want to see any news channels. Negativity starts from the morning. You hear read so much of deaths, rapes, kidnappings, ransoms. I think 90% of the paper is full of that. So that is the issues today, whether we need, and actually not me, I think everybody is disturbed by what is happening in the media today. One channel trying to do on the other. Anyway, I will just leave it to Justice Vijender Jain to elaborate on this subject and give his views, which are very valued. Thank you very much. Because I will request that you request Justice Vijender Jain to take over.
Thank you very much, Atul. You made some good points. As a matter of fact, you helped me in. I will not deal with those points which you have raised, because these days in video conferencing, time is very important, and you have to hit the bullet point. Otherwise, you won't get the relief in the court also. Now, it's a very, very interesting topic. Normally, you have been reading articles, books about media trial. So when we discussed and talked about the topic, I say media trial has become obsolete. Though there is nothing like something like media trial, because even trial, what trial doesn't find mention in CPC. You know, there is no trial. It's a procedural law. So I said, what is happening today, everybody is for a free, fair, a powerful media, which is essence, very essence of democracy, to safeguard democracy, to safeguard all institutions, including judiciary. But why people are questioning the role of media, and that is why it's media on trial. I'm sure most of you, because you are lawyers, you understand, unlike United States Constitution provides as a fundamental guarantee of a free press. There is built in the Constitution of the United States. But in India, there is nothing like freedom of press. It's not a fundamental right. Fundamental right under Article 19 is right of expression of a citizen, of an individual. But our Supreme Court, as a matter of fact, this right which has media so powerful today, the fourth step, or one of the pillars of democracy, as they say, is a right granted by the courts. Right way back in 1950, the famous case of State of Madras versus Ramesh Thapar. They say freedom, right of freedom of expression includes the right of printing and circulation. First place, 1950. Gradually, a right to media or the free press was carved out in various judgments of the Supreme Court from 1950, that is the first year of establishment of the Constitution in the Supreme Court, up to then Keshwanand Bharati, 61. And thereafter, all Supreme Court decisions, High Court decisions, they jealously guarded the freedom of press as a freedom of expression and a fundamental right granted under the Constitution to the press. And the role of the press in India was always laudable, because it is the pressure of investigating journalism that sometimes the bureaucratic tyranny, state tyranny, other things, they were exposed. And that's why people's faith in an independent, fearless press manifested in saving the democratic institutions in our country. I remember, and you will all recall, media played a very important role where on account of influences, the investigation was not proper. And the accused were simply, they got free. You will recall Jessica Law's murder case. And because at that time I was the acting Chief Justice of Delhi High Court. And when the judgment came, acquitting the person who was accused of, there was a hue and cry in the whole country. I'm not saying that the hue and cry should influence the judicial mind. Not for a second. But why it was an acquittal, according to the judgment, was because there was a discrepancy in investigation. I suo moto took the notice and asked for the investigation. It is only when I took the suo moto notice, the state filed an appeal against the judgment of acquittal. The rest is a history, because in the High Court, in exposing inadequacy of investigation or favoritism, government largesse, or certain service matter where somebody is promoted out of turn or ignoring the person who was more meritorious, when media takes up the cases, the person gets justice. The ultimate aim is to get justice in the society. In a democracy, that is why the role of media assumes a greater significance, like the role of judiciary, which is a buffer between chaos and democracy institution or parliamentary democracy. Now here comes the thin line. Media has got all and urged protection from the courts. So much so that till date, the law is there cannot be any preventive injunction on pre-publication. Court do not grant any injunction when you know this newspaper is going to publish a story against me. Kindly restrain, because my reputation will be harmed. Court will say, no, we can't pass a gag order. That much protection media has got. But with this protection, comes the responsibility. And if, in view of the change scenario, 15, 20 years back, the great eminent journalist, investigative journalism, these people, they create human service for the institutions. Since situation has changed. Now, media is controlled by people who have capacity to control economic power. Even a journalist who is working there in any electronic or print media, it's very difficult for him to write or print what he wants to say or what is the actual thing on the field. Because he is not the final authority. He has got constraints because his boss has got constraints. The chief editor has got constraints. What has to be published? Not everything. Therefore, if you have got not that kind of independence which in our country we used to enjoy, the media has to work with much more responsibility. And that responsibility comes because of another fundamental right, another fundamental human right, a right guaranteed by Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a right guaranteed by the Constitution of India under Article 14, Article 21, for a person who is accused to have a fair trial. If any action by either print media or electronic media infringes with the right of a fair trial of an accused, then media cannot claim the exclusive privilege that because they are the fourth estate, they cannot be restrained, they cannot be asked to mend their ways, or a simpliciter apology will serve the purpose. Normally, what happened? I give you a classic case of way back in Kolkata. I won't name the journalist. Calcutta was on fire. It was a case of, it was alleged that the girl who was killed was on account of demand of dowry. It's a reported case. And the police is not investigating the matter. Everybody is in hand in glove. All kind of allegations in the press, the whole of it used to appear, saying that all these people, they have killed that daughter-in-law on account of dowry. The whole atmosphere, at least these people, they were condemned. Ultimately, in the trial, which Atul has referred, from the material on record, it came on the record that the girl has committed suicide because she was xenophobic. And there was no question of any demand of dowry. But because of this adverse publicity, the persons who were accused, they were let free by the court, but was social stigma. Throughout their life, they faced, one has to remember and recognize. Take another case, Arushi murder case, very recent to your memory. Media all the time, they said, no, father and mother has killed the daughter. They spent years together in jail. Ultimately, they were declared no, they were not guilty. What I am making a point, that when such an enormous responsibility is on the shoulder of media, media cannot walk away and say, well, we were espousing some cause. Dear friends, what I'm emphasizing is the power of reach of media has increased manifold because of electronic media. Now, if somebody like to only keep in mind the commercial interest, the increase of the TRP, then I'm sure that they are not entitled to any privilege in the name of freedom of press or freedom of expression. Important point which you must, those who are the law students, I would emphasize that these kind of reporting is absolutely causes obstruction in the process of fair flow of justice from the judicial administration. And if it is so, then there is laws to deal with this kind of. When we talk about all this, we do not have to minimize the role of media, as I said at the outset. But in the change scenario, when the power of reach, outreach, effect, its effect on the population, society, judges, though American jurisprudence says that, well, media or any writing does not affect the judges. But our Supreme Court has said, no, consciously or unconsciously, something retained in the mind of a judge. I remember one case in Delhi. It was again a dowry case. And the charge was the girl was the in-laws and the husband has killed the girl because they wanted dowry. And there was a judgment by a very eminent judge who declared that no, it was not a dowry death, rather it was a case of a suicide. A lot of demonstration, media writing, that it looks like everything is gone. And the judge is wrong, everybody is wrong. Now to make this cursory remark sitting or writing, and I cannot appreciate, and I do not know how you people take it, but they say that TRP increases. When some investigation is going on, a news channel have a like a apna court, Janta court. Investigation is going on, and people are participating and giving their opinion when they do not know about either the fact or the law. Somebody has written something, and these people are debating 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours for something which is maybe existent, may not be existent. How can we have that kind of safeguard for these kind of reporting and these kind of people who misuse the freedom which has been granted for doing good, just, fair to the process of law, to the institution of democracy, to safeguard the right of, and civil liberties of the citizens, to see that no injustice is done, either in the matter of allotment of largesse by the state, or in the matter of service condition of the employees, or in the matter of treatment to the population. This cannot be I won't say regulation as useful in checking these kind of practices. I'm not saying by all, but those who are indulging, whether any other person does not have a right of his own dignity and integrity. Because if you say something on the media, it's gone. Nobody is interested what verdict will come. Because media has tried, investigated, don't bother about the investigation by the state authority, and also pronounce the judgment also guilty. Whether court let him off or court convict him, as a different material. So the personal right of integrity is very, very important. When some news is published, something is published, one should look what is going to happen to person whom you are accusing. Because he is only an accused. As Mr. Lakhanpal said, India has to distinguish a person who is accused and a person who is convicted. And there is this much of gap between accusation and conviction. But we accuse, we convict. In media, we convict. And what about the right of privacy? The citizen has no right of privacy. Media should also have to introspect that right of privacy is also as sacrosanct as the right of free press. They also see that these proceedings are pending in court. It should not be printed in the manner which gives rise to a suspicion of creation of a reasonable doubt of creating a bias in the mind of society or in the mind of the judge. What happens is, previously, the journalist would go, he will sit in the court, he will observe, and he will write his story, or he will write about the proceedings. Now that thing is gone, and particularly in this visual hearing. Now, one goes to the court, put it on the mobile phone, and it is circulated among us all. If one gives a wrong, everybody prints the same thing. This is not. Investigative journalism is the hallmark of contemporary modern freedom of press. But investigating journalism doesn't allow that in the name of investigation, you destroy somebody else's life without having any evidence before you. And the investigation is going on. This is very important aspect which we have to keep in mind. And as I said earlier, I would repeat, maybe it's a very unpopular thing, and maybe that it may be misused. But this concept of that we will not restrain a pre-publication, I think the courts have to relook at it. In view of what is happening today, maybe 10 years back, 15 years back, any case would come and say, well, this is going to write an article where my reputation will be infringed. Court would rightly say, no, let it be printed. How you say? They are responsible people. They will not do it. But seeing the conduct today, I think it has to have a relook as to whether a fair trial, a fair investigation is stand on a higher footing than the right of a journalist or a TV channel to say whatever against that individual. That is another point I wanted to make it. Always, in any given society, we are fortunate that in India, media plays a very important role. It should continue to play important. In a country where media becomes subservient to the state or to the ruling elite, the chances of that country for survival of democracy is very limited. In a country where the judicial institutions do not stand up against tyranny, oppression, the chances of surviving of democracy and rule of law becomes negative. It is in this context, dear friend, I thought that I must congratulate the organizer for organizing this very burning topic on media on trial. And I'm sure that those who are participating, because Mr. Chatnath has said that we will have some time for question and answer, so I don't want to be long. And I conclude with this, and then if any questions are there, we are here till 5 o'clock.
Thank you, sir, for the insights being given. At least those who have been in Punjab, Haryana High Court or Delhi, they know that you always speak short, crisp, and to the point. And those who have not heard you earlier but have heard it, they can also vouch upon this fact that it was all spot on. So as of now, Shri has posted 2 questions. Critical evaluation, questioning, and criticism is the 4th pillar of democracy, not media. Earlier, the only option was to do this through newspapers, TV, etc. But now with technology, the critical evaluation can be done by individual also. Hence, the statement is the 4th pillar, according to me, is a misnomer. What is your take?
Atul, what is the question?
Yes, sir. I will repeat it again.
Yeah.
Critical evaluation. Sir, is it audible?
No, your
Sir, is
voice,
it audible?
your voice. Yeah, Vikas, yes, speak. Yeah.
Sir, is it audible now?
Now it is.
Critical evaluation,
Yes, please.
questioning, and criticism is the 4th pillar of democracy, not media. Earlier, the only option was to do this through media, newspapers, TV, etc. But now with the technology, critical evaluation can be done by an individual also. Hence, the statement is the 4th pillar is a misnomer according to Shri. What is your take on this?
No, you mean to say that the critical evaluation by who?
By an individual. Let's assume he or she says that one writes this on any other platform, one can go on the YouTube, etc. It's her or his choice. So he says, what is your take on this?
Right, your voice is, I'm not in a position to.
Yeah, is it audible? So I will again read it. Critical evaluation, questioning, and criticism is the 4th pillar of democracy, not media. Earlier, the only option was to do this through newspapers. But now with the technology evaluation, the statement that media is the 4th pillar is now a misnomer.
Atul, are you hearing him? Just open the mic of Atul.
Yes, sir, we have unmuted Mr. Atul Akbar.
Sir, what
Mr. Atulji,
the question is in nutshell is that now that we don't need television, press, or radio or anything, the social media individual can also criticize. That is in nutshell the question is.
The media can be
Yes.
criticized?
Social media.
Yeah.
Yes, she's referring to social media that you don't need today press or media or television, but you can criticize and influence even in the social media.
Of course, why not? But I would say that social media, with so many things on social media, is creating also a chaos. Half of the time I know in my office or my people who are associated, they see just this YouTube and other things, all kind of things which has virtually no factual ground to hold.
Yeah.
Social
Sir,
media becomes most irresponsible.
sir, I can add, sir, this is where this has also to be controlled. Now, sir, in Sushant Rajput's case, it was a media lynching by the media. It was a rape by the social media.
In that case, the report of the 5 leading
Yeah.
most medical experts
Yes,
told me that it was not a murder, it was a suicide, but people said you won't believe.
yes.
But second, what can you do?
But just because it's the power of media, sir, it has to be controlled somewhere. That's
If you control, they will say you are gagging us.
yes, that's a.
So
But they have to then.
it is a great responsibility on those media houses, media barracks, to see that they must self-regulate. Let them not allow their freedom to be taken away by the judicial orders. That's what I made a point. They must behave. Otherwise, time will not leave anybody.
So, this is by Kaneksh Goda. I think more awareness has to be created amongst the viewer to not get impressed by the media without any reasonable caution. This is his suggestion only. And I can read the second question of Shri. Noisy party anchors with shallow knowledge funded by private companies with their business agenda cannot be allowed to call themselves as fourth pillar. So what is your comment?
There is something I think we can write on this screen. I can read it if you.
So it's already written on the chat by the Shri. You can read that question by Shri.
I am in absolute agreement with her. They should not be permitted to.
I think we are talking about the identification part that I read it. Naturally, it affects the whole criminal procedure code where accused has to be taken for identification. And what just Mr. Lakhanpal has pointed out in the beginning, they show all the cameras are there, they are accusing some people. So there is no, that provision has been dispensed with. Yes.
So this is by Yudhishthir Sharma. Should there be a regulatory authority for media?
Of course, I agree. I 100% agree.
So it's the need of the hour today. The youngsters are being fed with such a negativity that they are influenced in day-to-day life. So they can take to crime and drugs because the drug laws are being made heroes by these people, the media. Every day we are seeing that a gangster has done so much, and they are on Facebook proclaiming their actions. The youngsters tend to idolize them, and their code of conduct says that they have to they do not have to glamorize the crime or the criminal, but nobody is following it. So the need of to my mind, is that there should be some regulation to check this.
So this is by Gurdas Naik.
The problem is that
it can be misused.
They themselves realize any regulation would be tested on the touchstone of whether it curtails the freedom of press or not. So it has to be seen in that context. And sometimes, what is happening today, on the last time there was a webinar when I spoke about this pandemic and the origin of the Disaster Management Act, which was 1897, enacted by the Britishers. It's a 3-page enactment. But this Pandemic Act or Disaster Management Act, which came later on in its modified form, it's such a draconian. On the one hand is the object is, yes, because it's an extraordinary situation, it should be dealt like that. But how much right and freedom it has curtailed in the name of that one section 188, which cannot even stand the judicial scrutiny. And on that day I said, particularly to lawyers, because that says that a complaint has to be filed by the officer concerned. But thousands and lakhs of complaint have been filed, it is not by officer concerned. And you know, under criminal law, there is nothing like a delegated legislation that you file on my behalf. It's not possible. Yes. Any other question, gentlemen? Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. This is by Gurdas Naik. If the media is harmed by if the media harmed the reputation due to media trial, can the aggrieved person sue the media for this?
Of course, as far as law is concerned, if a reputation is harmed, a person's calling is affected, he has got a right in civil law as well as under the criminal law. But you know how arduous the procedure is. And in India, again, the problem is a complainant becomes an accused. He has to go to the court every time. You know all the lawyers who are practicing, and the accused can ask for exemption. So a claimant becomes accused. And I'm sorry to say, the lawyers would not like to leave a client. Yes.
But this is by Sanjay. No, this is by PKM. The trial by media affects the right of an accused to a fair and unbiased trial. What is the remedy for the accused in such circumstances?
Accused can file. You can file a prosecution. You can prosecute. There is a provision for even against the police official. If the police official, there is a false prosecution, then for malicious prosecution, anybody can be held up. But again, the standard of proof, the law on this point, very cumbersome process.
Sir, I feel they can be tried for contempt of court, sir. It amounts to administration interference in administration of justice.
Yes.
They are, in fact, there are many cases, sir, where media was tried for contempt of court. Right from.
I got one thing which I will announce to everybody that Mr. Chaturvedi said. This is what our today's talk is on YouTube.
So, Sanjay, the responsibility of the social media should be accountable and they should be made to understand their responsibility. What is your view on this?
I'm absolutely, like, for example, there is a judgment of the Supreme Court, which in Delhi High Court I have also, in a limited manner, I have passed it. That why they play a place of public use, they should be made for a ground for dharnas or for obstruction. People do not realize I have got my right to walk in any manner I like. Constitution guarantees. I have got also a right to put my umbrella in my hand and just go on doing like this on the road. But they must know that right of mine comes to an end when the tip of my umbrella touches the nose of another person. Then his right starts. It is the same context. You have said you have got a right of freedom and expression. You have got a right to stage dharna. You have a right to stage protest. You sit anywhere you like. It's a democracy. It's my right. You have no right. You have a right to protest. You have a right to organize dharna. But you can't block the traffic which is going on, which in Delhi happened for 3 months. The Supreme Court very rightly said. In this context, the social responsibility of the social media, if they are saying spread rumors, they're doing anything, they're absolutely liable for prosecution and action. So that's it.
Yes, sir. We don't have any questions as such.
Thank you.
And
thank you very much, sir.
thank you to all the friends who have joined us on the Facebook.
Most of them I know. A few I can see the faces, but there are very large number, about 75 or something.
Yes, sir. And thank you to all the persons who have watched us on this platform.
Okay. Thank you.
And tomorrow we have a session on cybersecurity and fraud prevention by Mr. Sandeep Suri, an advocate of Punjab Haryana High Court, who is otherwise an author also, and then Yogesh Chauhan, who is working as a Grazety Interactive Chief Information Security Officer. Do join us at 5 p.m. Everyone stay safe, stay blessed. And thank you, sir, for giving your insights. And thank you, Mr. Lakhanpal ji.